Welcome to Betrayal Affairs, a place where secrets are unearthed, hearts are tested, and the thin line between loyalty and longing is shattered in silence. Today's story is one of forbidden lines blurred by emotional hunger, of a woman who lost herself in routine, only to rediscover the pulse of desire through the most unexpected source. This is not just about betrayal. It's about what happens when someone sees through you, not past you. Now, take a breath. Because what you're about to hear may change the way you look at love, loyalty, and longing forever. The classroom felt like a forgotten memory that late afternoon, still, sun-drenched, and quiet in that nostalgic way schools often get when the final bell has long since rung. Dust particles floated lazily in the shafts of light pouring in through the tall windows, catching the golden glow of a dying day. I was alone, grading papers I had read a dozen times before, half-focused, half-lost in thought. It was routine, the kind that numbs you slowly over years. Then came a soft knock, barely audible, but enough to jolt me back to reality. I looked up. And there he was. Jake stood at the door, backpack slung lazily over one shoulder, eyes hesitant. He lingered for a second, unsure of whether to come in. But then he did. Slowly. Cautiously. Like a secret that knew it was about to be told. He was one of my brightest students, not just in terms of academics, but the way he held himself. Poised. Confident, but not arrogant. Mature beyond his age. The kind of student who stayed behind after class, not to flatter, but to ask, really ask, the kinds of questions that linger in your soul long after the chalk dust fades. But today, something about him was different. His energy was off. A quiet nervousness clung to him. I was wondering if we could talk, he said, not meeting my gaze. I smiled gently. Of course, Jake. Is this about your last paper? Or something going on at home? He sat down across from me, fingers tapping rhythmically on the edge of the desk, a telltale sign of nervous energy trying to escape. And then he dropped the sentence that turned my entire world sideways. I think I'm in love with someone, he said, eyes still downcast. I gave a soft chuckle, assuming it was just another harmless crush. Teens fall hard and fast, we all did once. But then he looked up. His eyes met mine, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. It's you. Time stopped. There wasn't drama in his voice. No bold theatrics. Just truth. Simple. Raw. Terrifying. I blinked, trying to process what I had just heard. 1,000 alarm bells went off in my head, each clanging louder than the last. This is wrong. Inappropriate. Dangerous. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. He stood, slowly, taking a few steps toward me. His presence didn't feel threatening, just heartbreakingly honest. I know it's not right, he whispered, but I see how you look at me. And that's when it happened, the part one can never fully explain. Because he wasn't wrong. I had looked at him differently. Not intentionally. Not with malice. But in those long hours after class, in the quiet moments when our conversations drifted from literature to life, something had started to form. I saw in him a mirror of the person I used to be. Curious. Present. Alive. I turned away, walking toward the tall window at the back of the room, trying to collect my thoughts. Outside, the world kept moving, unaware of the storm forming inside me. I was married. I was his teacher. This was insanity. But in the deepest parts of my chest, something stirred, something warm, something dangerously forgotten. Jake didn't come closer. He didn't reach out or press. He simply said, "You deserve someone who sees you." And then he left. Like he knew the moment was already too big to stay inside of. That night, I lay in bed beside a man I barely recognized anymore. Eric, my husband of 9 years, slept in the other room, back turned, wrapped in his silence. A silence I had learned to live with. His snoring echoed through the walls, but Jake's words echoed louder, "You deserve someone who sees you." And it hit me. I couldn't remember the last time I felt seen. Not as a wife. Not as a woman. Not as me. Over the next few days, Jake didn't say a word to me. He avoided eye contact in class, took his seat without lingering, handed in assignments without conversation. And it bothered me. It shouldn't have. But it did. I missed the way he looked at me like I was someone worth looking at. And then, Thursday. Class had ended. The room was empty. And just before leaving, he walked past my desk, silent, and placed a folded piece of paper near my keyboard. Then left. I waited until the door clicked shut before unfolding it. It wasn't a note. It was a poem. His words weren't crude or inappropriate. They were aching. Honest. Full of restraint. Overflowing with desire that refused to cross a line. But still unmistakably, about me. I read it 3 times. My hands trembled. I didn't throw it away. I hid it. Inside the drawer I rarely used. Like a secret I couldn't admit to, but also couldn't let go of. That weekend, Eric went on a fishing trip with his brothers. 3 days alone. The silence in the house was unbearable. And I cracked. I messaged Jake. His reply came instantly. Just one word, address. He didn't ask if it was okay. He didn't hesitate. And when he showed up at my door, it wasn't like a fantasy. It wasn't candlelight and romantic music. It was real. Messy. Charged. I wore sweatpants and a faded tank top. Told myself this wasn't about that. That we were just going to talk. But when I opened the door and saw his eyes, there was no going back. He kissed me. Gently at first. Cautiously. Like he was afraid I might vanish. And I let him. Because for the first time in years, I didn't want to vanish. We made our way to the couch. Every breath between us felt heavier. Charged. His fingers brushed against mine, tentative, curious, until curiosity gave way to something deeper. He didn't devour me. He honored me. Touched me like I mattered. Held me like I wasn't a mistake he was making, but a truth he was finally claiming. And afterward, in the quiet darkness, our bodies tangled under the soft throw blanket, he rested his head on my chest and whispered, "I don't regret this." And neither did I. The days that followed, everything changed. I started waking up earlier. Dressing better. Putting on perfume I hadn't touched in years. My coworkers noticed. Eric noticed. But no one asked. Jake and I kept our distance at school. A few glances, no words. But at night? We were everything. Parking lots. Empty apartments. Shadowed back streets. We found each other in places where secrets feel safe. He was graduating soon. I told myself it would end then. But the more he touched me, the less I believed that. I wasn't just cheating. I was resurrecting. He brought laughter back into my days, warmth into my skin, and fire back into my soul. I knew the consequences. The whispers that would come if anyone found out. The headlines. The judgment. But what people don't understand is that betrayal isn't always about lust. Sometimes it's about being found. One night in a dim motel room, we lay side by side. No rush. No guilt. Just breath and skin and truth. He traced the outline of my collarbone with his fingers and whispered, "You deserve more than a half-lived life." And for a moment, I believed I could have it. But I also knew, somewhere deep, that this wasn't forever. He would move on, grow, leave, and I would stay, anchored to a life that no longer felt like mine. But I also knew something else: he had already changed me. Forever. They say affairs happen because of what's missing. But sometimes, they happen because of what's suddenly found. I don't know if what I did was right. But I know it was real. In a world filled with roles, rules, and routines, I found a moment where I was just me. And I will never forget what it felt like to be seen. If this story moved you, stirred something buried deep within, or made you question the silent corners of your own heart, then don't forget to subscribe to Betrayal Affairs. New stories, every single day. True. Raw. Unfiltered. Because sometimes, the most dangerous secrets are the ones we never meant to keep.